We believe that the experience of the last 2 years shows that the longer the period of too low inflation lasts, the higher is the likelihood that it's low because of what you said, because of weak demand, because of high unemployment, because of a high slack. In other words, the longer the period of low inflation lasts, the more important would become the cyclical component of our business cycle. As you know, I mean, we have different views between here and the United States. In the United States, everything is cyclical, and in Europe, everything is structural. And the speech I gave in Jackson Hole moderates this view, saying that certainly much of it is structural, but there's also a cyclical component. It's also another interesting thing. When we go back and analyze the last 2 years' inflation, we see that inflation in 2011 was 3%, now it's 0.4%. And for a long time, we said that this would depend on the behavior of oil and food prices. And in fact, if you take that into account, you would explain something like 80% of the fall in inflation. But then after the oil prices, the dollar prices of these components stopped declining or declined more mildly, it was the exchange rate appreciation which in a certain sense compounded on this. And then we had the relative price adjustment that certain countries had to undergo because their prices were completely out of range and they had to turn back and become competitive again. So all these were causes, and looking at these causes would explain the whole of the fall of inflation. Now, over the more recent past, we see that a quarter of the forecast error that we made in forecasting inflation is not due to the mistakes we made in forecasting assumptions about the oil price, about the food price, about the exchange rate, and so on, but it's due to other factors, one of which is, again, is unemployment, one of which is the slack, the size of the slack of the economy.